God bless everybody. It's been a while since I've been on here. It's been a while since I've been on here as it pertains to um, planting. But God has always been interested in us being sustainable and being able to grow our own foods. But I want to talk about a dream that I had, and I took the dream to be um, I thought that the dream was symbolic. And I was trying to figure out the explanation, but turns out it was more literal. Um, as the weeks went on after I had this dream, turns out it was more literal. So the dream was I went outside, and when I went outside, there was snow on the ground. And in the dream, I was aware that, we were in mid spring. And I thought it strange in the dream. And I remember walking in the backyard and saying, "Oh my gosh, I hope it's not too late for my strawberries." And I should have covered them up. And that was the end of the dream. So I was like wrecking my brain trying to figure out, what does this dream mean? Da, da, da. And I could never come to a realization of what the dream meant until I began to not read, but see the weather report for this week in what is this? Almost the second week of May. So when I saw the weather report, I knew that God was speaking to me literally about um this cold snap that we're going to have. We're going to have what they call it, a polar stuff I have never heard of before in my entire life. When I was growing up, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but maybe you guys have heard of this, but I've never heard of any polar vortex. A polar vortex sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but we're supposed to be having a polar vortex blast, and some of us may see snow in May, you know. And I live in the northeast, but I've never seen not even a flurry or anything like that. I find it quite odd. Um, but anyway, God gave me that dream because He's literally telling me and telling His people, look, if you planted stuff, get out there and cover it up. I don't know what you need to go to the garden center or something and cover your stuff up. If you have potted plants, put them underneath something, so that the frost or any snow doesn't get on them. If you got plants that you can bring inside, bring them inside. Because like I said, God wants us to be self-sufficient and independent. He doesn't want us to have to be dependent on, if a food truck doesn't come, or the grocery store is not stocked up. We're all seeing these issues happen with the food supply, um, the supply and demand. We're seeing all these different crazy things that is happening with the system. So God has always been interested in His people growing their own food, and being able to sustain themselves. And I did a video years ago, and somehow I uploaded it to the wrong channel, but it's still on that other channel. And I uploaded a video about how God was saying that He wanted His people to grow crops, and that still stands. That word is not old. He's always wanted us to, grow our own foods, even if it's just to supplement. Because at least then you can control, if you can make sure that there's no pesticides on it. Or if you put pesticides on it, it's all organic, that type of stuff. And it's not genetically modified. That's why there is a even it makes me think of the dreams that I've had in the past where God was speaking to me about heirloom, and I was thinking that He was speaking to me figuratively. I thought that He was speaking to me about maybe something in my family line, but God is speaking literally in regards to getting heirloom seeds, because we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing to these seeds. You know what I mean? Or you get a fruit nowadays and there's no seed in the fruit, you know. Um, but anyway, let's just go into today. So if you have plants, you need to cover them up. Okay, you need to cover them up, and you need to make sure they make it through this polar vortex, whatever that is. Um, and it's supposedly, I think that maybe is it Saturday into Sunday, that it's supposed to be really, really cold here in the Northeast and other parts of the country. And as a rule of thumb, just as gardening advice, um, I remember one year. See, gardening is trial and error. I remember one year. I remember one year. I was so excited. The weather got started getting warm, and I went out there and cause I grow my plants from seeds, and um, I have them in little trays and stuff like that. I grow them from seed, and I keep them in the house, and and then I gradually take them outside. Um, but I'll bring them in every night. But I remember one year, I was doing that, but then it started getting warm, and it was like mid-April or something like that. The frost date was over with, and I put them in the ground, and I remember that those peppers, those pepper plants that I planted, no matter what I did, they did not recover. All they needed was one cold snap, and it really wasn't even all that cold, but it was like a couple of days where it was cold, and they never recovered. The tomatoes, I never harvested. I mean, I harvested from them, but the tomatoes, they just never, they weren't as robust. I didn't have as many fruit on each plant. So it's funny because I was doing some exercise the other day, and I was walking, and this was a couple of weeks ago, and the neighbor said to me, "Oh, you don't have anything in the ground?" It's like a race. People are, it's like a race. You ain't put nothing in the ground yet. I'll put all my stuff in the ground. And I said, "Oh no, I learned my lesson." I said, "I learned my lesson. I don't put anything out until Memorial Day. That's just, a rule of thumb for me. I don't put anything out into the ground until Memorial Day." And so I recommend that you do the same if you're in the Northeast. That Memorial Day seems like a safe bet, because it's hard to put all that time and effort. It's like your babies. You put all that time and effort in growing those seedlings and getting them to, where they need to be, and you put them in the ground. All it takes is one little cold snap to destroy your crop. So, wait until Memorial Day. Also, there was something that God had told me to plant, and directly into the ground. And this was maybe about a week ago. I woke up, he gave me a dream, and he was just like, plant these. And I saw exactly how I was supposed to plant them. What they are turnip greens, and they have a certain level of cold hardiness. I need to look and see exactly what temperatures they're able to sustain, but it doesn't matter because I'm covering them up anyway. Um, so he told me to plant the turnip greens, and I might have made a video on this before, but um, believe it or not, I do feel the Holy Spirit wants me to speak on these turnip greens, because for people who are having bowel issues, who are, feel bloated, feel like they can't go like they need to be, turnip greens is something that you need to put in your diet. It will it will work through your system and get things to move. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know, but it's turnip greens. they'll do it. They'll do it for you. Okay, not to be too descriptive, but it will, yeah, they'll help you. So put turnip greens in your diet. And I remember one year planting the turnips, and when you get to a certain point, they say thin them, because you put them in rows, and the seeds are so small, they're all like bunched together, and they say after they get a certain height that you're supposed to thin them. And so I went out to thin them that morning. I had in my mind to thin them that morning, and God said to me, um waste nothing, waste nothing. And I said, well, and I knew he was speaking about the turnip greens, and I'm like, waste nothing. Well, what am I supposed to do with it? What am I supposed to do with it? So what God was saying was that even though you have to thin them, that doesn't mean you just waste them and throw them out somewhere. So when I pulled them up, because the whole turnip is edible, the root, the leaves, everything is edible. So I pulled them up, they were small, pulled them up, and I blended them up and made like smoothies out of them, the roots, everything. And at that point, the roots are not developed, like they're not like a big old like bulb, they're just little, it looks like a tap root. And you just blend them up, put them in your shake, or however you want to fix them, because they're extremely healthy. They're extremely healthy. And a lot of us sleep on turnip greens. We sleep on it because we're not realizing we want to go to get some exotic food from across the world. And when we have things that grow even in the wild that are basically medicinal, but oh Lord help me, medicinal. um and it's around here, you will drive and you will see turnips just growing on the side of the street, growing wild. So, but I plant them so that I know, you know what I mean? Because one of the issues with, getting things that grow on the side of the road is that, they absorb a lot of toxins, because you have cars and everything going by, and they, exhaust and all that stuff. So, I like to grow them in my backyard where I know, what's getting into them. So, but yes, I just wanted to get on here and talk about planting. And if you haven't started planting, it's not too late. Start small and work your way. But it is important. It is important for us to have our own vegetables as much as possible. Um, just like you know, with the strawberries here in the Northeast, if you get what they call the June bearing kind, they only come out around May and June, hence the name June bearing strawberries. Um, and they're expensive. Me and my mom was just talking about, like, oh my gosh, every year they seem to go up. And now because of the coronavirus, they said strawberries, they're gonna skyrocket. Well, I mean, the prices are gonna skyrocket. Um, I don't really have to worry about that because I have so many plants in the backyard. So um, we're really blessed. So, all right, well, there was that is my spiel about growing vegetables and fruits and vegetables and whatever else you can grow that's edible. Um, so God bless you all. I love you, and until next time.